Hello friends, both old and new. I am John St. Baptiste, and this is Music Makes the People Come Together, where we share amazing and eclectic music with amazing and eclectic people like yourselves. This week, we are going over my descent into madness, because we are talking about music, and there's a hell of a lot of it, that influenced me in my formative years. And essentially shaped a lot of the eclectic music that I absolutely love. Now, there's some artists or genres that aren't on here. I just recently did a video on jazz, so I didn't put any jazz on here. I didn't put The Cure on here because I do have a video on my channel that is just about The Cure. I did not put the Grateful Dead on here because that is going to, in a few weeks, be the next History of Music video. And there's some other artists that just, by happenstance, got left off because this list was getting extremely long in the first place. Now, I do have two apologies to make to you, and they're actually related to one another. One is that this video should have been up yesterday, and I apologize that it was not. So I hope you enjoy watching it today. The second is because of that, and I wanted to get it up as quickly as possible after getting home from work. I look kind of like a hobo because I haven't shaven yet. So I hope you can forgive me for that and don't think I'm going to ask you for a quarter. So that being said, thank you so much for coming here. And let's dive right into the music. As always, there's a little Easter egg at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. And I hope you enjoy those. And let's go right to it. So first we have Prologue by Renaissance. Renaissance, for those of you who aren't familiar, were a very early prog rock band. And I remember when I got this record, just listening to it over and over and over and over again. It's a great record. The majority of this music is stuff that I got into in high school, but there are some things that I got into a bit earlier in life, or just after that. Next, we have I Hope Your Dreams Come True by Daisy Chainsaw. This is off their album 11teen. Actually, a band that I used to be in, we covered this. And it's just a really, really, really great track. And one that probably a lot of people haven't heard. Following that, we have Everybody Knows by Concrete Blonde. Concrete Blonde has influenced me musically so very much. And also Jeanette Nepolciano, their singer, I got to meet her once. She is absolutely one of the kindest human beings I've ever met. And she was just so very nice. It was in '94... and that was the year, at least here in Ohio, it snowed on Halloween, and it was like cold for the rest of the winter. And you know, I used to quite often do the thing where you wait out back, wait to meet the artists. And the girl who I was seeing at the time, there were a total of, I think, like 7 people out there by the time she came out, because she didn't think anybody was going to come out. She's from, like, Southern California. She's like, it's too freaking cold. But, yeah, I believe there were 7 of us waiting out there. And she's like, oh my gosh. I can't believe you people are here. I'm sorry you had to wait so long. And invited us all on her tour bus. And so we got to hang out with Jeanette. And she made cocoa for everybody. But because I'm allergic to chocolate, I had to very politely decline. And she's like, that's okay, this'll warm you up. And made Earl Grey tea with Drambuie in it. Now keep in mind, I was 16 at the time. So a grown-up buying me alcohol who wasn't like an aunt or an uncle was kind of interesting. But also, she was just so kind. And that whole winter, we would skip all the time on Friday afternoons. And go to the park to sled, and we'd actually make a thermos of her Earl Grey and Drambuie. So that's how I spent the sordid days of my high school. After that, we have Assimilate by Skinny Puppy. This is an absolutely great song, R.I.P. Ogre. And I actually used to date a dancer who this was my special lap dance song. So it's something for you to think about while you're listening to it. After that, we have the Immortals doing Lost Soul Bent on Revenge. This is some relatively early house. It's a great track, and I'm not going to tell you too much about it, but I'm sure once it comes along, you're going to know exactly where it came from. Then we have the Alan Parsons Project doing Games People Play. This is off of A Turn of the Friendly Card, which is one of my favorite albums of all time. Once again, this is an album I listened to ad nauseum back in high school. And I just remember sitting and looking at the cover art and listening to it. You know, that's one of those really cool things that you miss out on to an extent with CDs, and especially with nowadays with MP3s and so forth. You don't just have that huge piece of cover art to check out. So I hope you enjoy that. Then we have Straight Outta Compton by NWA. This is off the album of the same name. NWA was one of the first hip-hop acts I really got into, and this is a hard... This is a banger. It's a real banger. And if you've never heard it before, you're in for quite a treat. Also, if you ever get the opportunity, go check out the film. It was pretty good. I liked it pretty well. And the actors who are playing the members of NWA, like, look just like them. In fact, the young man who plays Ice Cube was actually his son. So that's pretty cool. Following that, we have 9 Inch Nails doing Ruiner. This is off the Downward Spiral. I remember the album kept getting delayed, and I had prepaid for it, and the release date was changed like 5 or 6 times. But by the time I finally got it, it was entirely worth it. This isn't my very favorite 9 Inch Nails album, but it's definitely up there. My favorite's probably The Fragile. Then we have the Requiem in D minor by Mozart. Mozart was my very first love. When I was a young kid playing piano, I got into jazz, and my mom got me into Mozart. And this is a excerpt from the Requiem in D minor. The actual piece is like 30 some odd minutes long, and I wasn't sure if it would hold everybody's attention. So I just went with an excerpt, but unbelievable piece. And what's amazing about Mozart is, and they have proven this, he never wrote second drafts. He never erased. And I've written for a 6-piece band. He was writing for a 60-piece orchestra. The man's level of genius is just absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, he passed at a very young age. He was 33. But even by then, he had had a more prolific career of writing music than a lot of composers who live 2 or 3 times as long. Then we have Exquisite Corpse by Bauhaus. This is off The Sky's Going Out. I remember sitting on the bus in high school listening to this on my Walkman almost every morning, listening to this album. And it's so great, and it introduced me to a lot of stuff about time signature changes and so forth. And it has everything from like gothic music to experimental prog rock to reggae. It's just a really, really freaking cool track. After that, we have Going to California by Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin was also another very early love of mine, and Going to California is just such a great song. If you look on my Covers That Kick Ass mix, there's actually a bluegrass cover of it that is freaking great. But the original, I mean, you really can't beat it. It's some unbelievable stuff. Then we have Just Like Anyone by Soul Asylum. This is off of Let Your Dim Light Shine. I love this video. The story that this video tells, this was back when videos told stories, is so cool. And it's got Claire Danes in it, who I am genetically bred to find attractive. And it's a really, really cool track. Following that, we have Seasons in the Abyss by Slayer, off the album of the same name. And this is thrash at some of its finest. You know, you have your holy trinity of thrash, which is Slayer, Megadeth, and Metallica, and they're all thrash metal, but they're all so different. And Slayer is just so grim and dark and heavy. And yeah, this is a really great track. After that, we have Pull My Strings by the Dead Kennedys. This was actually something they did as slightly an improv because at one of their shows, East Bay Ray's guitar broke, so they had to fill in the time while he replaced the string. And it's a great commentary on the music industry. Then we have Don't You Forget About Me by the Simple Minds. Got to do the fist in the air to that song. It was off the soundtrack to The Breakfast Club, and I'm sure everyone and their mom has seen The Breakfast Club at least 100 times. Now, there is this weird part of me that likes the edited for TV version just because the overdubbing is so bad. It's like, there's this campy joy to it. Eat my socks. Really fun to watch. But yeah, great movie and really great song. Then we have Rake by Townes Van Zandt. Oh, Townes Van Zandt, his whole life is so heartbreaking. But Rake is just a great song. It means a lot to me at this point in my life because it's about remembering when you were much younger and now time's going on and you know you're not the person you used to be. So that's really meaningful. Then we have Painted Black by the Rolling Stones. Of course, you know I couldn't get away without playing some Rolling Stones because, well, they influenced my life and my music tastes quite a bit. And this is a really cool lyric video for Painted Black. Somebody actually made it look like the whole thing's being... the graffiti's being made. And I'm sure this is another song I'm sure everybody out there has heard, but I had to include it. After that, speaking of the holy trinity of thrash, we have Master of Puppets by Metallica. If you've ever known anyone who is an addict, specifically a cocaine addict, this song is very applicable. That's what it's about, and the movements are... It's really interesting because they reflect the seeking and the use of the drug. And by the way, I say this anytime I bring up Metallica, early work. It should have been Lars. Then we have the Crab Louse by the Lords of Acid. Probably one of my favorite house bands of all time. And the Crab Louse is just such a great song. There's a remix that I really wanted to put on here, but I could not find it. So this is the original album version. This is off of Voodoo U, which also really sprung the career for the artist Coop. And there are a lot of really sexy devil women on there. So enjoy that. Next we have Dancing Queen by Abba. Guilty pleasure of mine. I do love me some Abba. Yeah, one of Sweden's greatest exports. And, this is just a really fun song. You can't listen to it and not smile. Following that, we have Rock and Roll High School by the Ramones. This is from the soundtrack to the film of the same name. And, the Ramones is just great, good time music. I don't care about history, rock and roll high school, because that ain't where I want to be. Rock and roll high school. I just want to have some kicks. I just want to get some chicks. Rock and roll high school. If that doesn't define you in high school, you were doing something wrong. After that, Somebody to Love by Queen. Queen, since I discovered them, right around junior high, they've always been an integral part of my music collection. I own every record by them. I've owned, I believe, 8 copies of Queen 2, because there's this thing. When I used to date, girls who I dated, when they broke up with me, would take my copy of Queen 2. Especially the ones who said that they didn't like Queen. It's like Queen 2 and Black Sweaters. I have been through so many because of exes. It's just not fair. Finally, we're going to wind this out with the very first record I bought myself. I saved my lunch money for a week and walked a mile to Kmart to buy Thriller by Michael Jackson, which came out when I was in kindergarten. And this is such a great album, and this is the song Thriller. It's absolutely great, and I put the full video on here. There's a certain nostalgia to watching it that's just unbelievable. So, like I said, there's an Easter egg, beginning, middle, end. Hope you enjoy that. Check it out. If you watch this video all the way through, you're a legend. Thank you. Watch the playlist all the way through. It's all over the place, because that's what I like to do for you folks. And my shout out for a channel this week is Arcane Forge. His work is really cool because he's an artist and he's also a really big D&D player and content creator. And every week he features his own artwork. You get to watch him draw it. And while he's drawing it, he talks about the creature from the Monster Manual. It's called Monster Mondays. So check his channel out if you're into fantasy, if you're into Dungeons & Dragons, anything like that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy the music. Please leave anything you have to say in the comment section down below. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and please check out Arcane Forge if that interests you at all. So I'm going to let you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm going to go ahead and get out of here because it's getting close to bedtime for me. So I hope you liked that. Friday we will be talking Tolkien. I have a couple of prospective guests we're going to see. Also, I got to talk to Linda, who was my guest this past Friday, because something happened with the video, and I need to see if she wants to reshoot it, just like as a podcast, or what she would prefer to do, because it's not showing up properly on my channel. So I'm going to go ahead and check out the music. In the meantime, if you would do me such a kindness, please, PLUR, be excellent to one another, and party on.